You know, I never thought I'd be sitting here telling this story. But if my experience can save someone else from falling into the same trap, it's worth sharing. My name is Connor, and this is how my ex-girlfriend tried to make me responsible for another man's baby, how her lies turned into a legal nightmare, and how her friends tried to destroy my reputation when I refused to play along. I'm 20 years old, living in Austin, Texas, working as an IT project manager. My life isn't flashy, but it's stable. I like structure, planning, knowing where I'm headed. Back then, I thought I had all of that with Vanessa. We'd been together for 2 years. She worked in marketing, was outgoing, fun, and we'd even talk about marriage someday. I was so certain she was the one that I was saving up for a ring. Looking back, I realized how blind I was. The truth didn't come from Vanessa. It came from her best friend. One evening, this friend showed up at my condo. She looked nervous, like she'd been carrying a secret for too long. She finally broke down and told me Vanessa had been cheating on me for months. She even had proof screenshots of messages, explicit ones, that left no doubt. I remember my stomach dropping. My hands were shaking, but I kept my voice steady when I confronted Vanessa. She denied it. Then she lied. Then she cried. And finally, she begged me to stay. But for me, cheating was always a deal breaker. So I told her it was over. No yelling, no drama, just finality. And I walked away. At first, I thought I was lucky. No kids, no shared accounts, no messy entanglements. Just a clean break. I blocked her, moved on, started working out, even began dating casually again. I thought that chapter of my life was closed. I was wrong. Months later, out of nowhere, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I picked up, thinking it might be work. But it was Vanessa. My first instinct was to hang up, but then her voice cracked. She said she needed to tell me something important. She went on about how she'd changed, how she'd grown, how she wanted to make things right. And then she dropped a bomb. She was 6 months pregnant. And she said, there was a chance it was mine. I'll never forget the chill that ran through me. But I knew instantly it was impossible. The timeline didn't add up. We hadn't been together in those months. We hadn't even been intimate toward the end. I told her flat out, that baby isn't mine. But Vanessa didn't back down. She tried twisting dates, planting doubt, pushing guilt. I hung up and blocked her again, but deep down, I knew this wasn't over. And I was right. Weeks later, I was served with legal papers. Vanessa had filed a paternity lawsuit against me. She accused me of abandoning her, of refusing to support my child. She'd painted me as a deadbeat dad in front of a judge. I was furious, but also scared, because now it wasn't just drama. It was the law. I hired an attorney. She told me not to panic, that a DNA test would clear everything. And when the results came back, zero match, 99.9% certainty. I was not the father. The judge dismissed everything. Vanessa was warned that filing false claims could have serious consequences. I felt vindicated. I thought, asterisk, finally, this nightmare is over. Asterisk, but Vanessa wasn't done. That's when harassment started. She began texting me from random numbers, sending photos of her baby with captions like, asterisk, she deserves a father. Asterisk, she twisted our history, saying I promised her a future and couldn't abandon her now. She even claimed that real men step up, biology or not. And when I ignored her, she turned her friends against me. Suddenly, my inbox was full of strangers calling me a deadbeat, accusing me of walking out on a pregnant girlfriend. Vanessa had told them her own version of events, leaving out the cheating, the DNA test, everything. People I didn't even know were tagging me online, posting about men who run from responsibility. It felt like an army of hate, all fueled by Vanessa's lies. I realized and I couldn't just ignore it anymore. I went back to my lawyer. We gathered every message, every post, every voicemail. My lawyer sent cease and desist letters. And when Vanessa ignored those, I filed for a restraining order. In court, Vanessa tried to spin it, said she was just asking for help. But the judge saw through her. I was granted a 3-year restraining order. Finally, peace. This whole ordeal lasted nearly a year. It cost me thousands in legal fees and so much stress I wouldn't wish on anyone. But I learned some hard truths. Asterisk, some people will feel entitled to your life, your money, your future just because you once cared about them. Asterisk, friends aren't always loyal to the truth. They'll choose sides, even when they know better. Asterisk, and most importantly, when you're dealing with someone willing to lie. Asterisk, documentation is everything. Asterisk, to this day, I sometimes wonder how Vanessa's doing, but not out of guilt, just curiosity. Her choices led her where she is, and I refuse to carry the weight of decisions that were never mine. So if you ever find yourself in a similar situation where someone tries to guilt you, trap you, or force responsibilities that aren't yours, remember this. Protect your peace. Stand firm. Document everything. Because the right boundaries aren't selfish, they re-survival. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from someone else's chaos.
If you were in my shoes, would you have let her back in? Or would you have shut the door for good like I did? Let me know in the comments. And if this story hit you as hard as it hit me living it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.